And welcome back to the Spicy Sports Show with Sam Stone and Tom Crane, coming to you live from Portland, Oregon and Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It's about 3 o'clock here on the West Coast, about 6 on the East Coast. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're back. So we're going to talk about some college football here. Going through the rankings, Alabama's still number 1. Ohio State's still number 2. Nothing of that has changed. You know, a couple things did change in the top 10. Clemson going up to number 3 after defeating Louisville. It's a close game there. Michigan still 4. Washington out on the West Coast here. Bumped up 5 spots to number 5. Their highest ranking since 2002, I believe, when they went all the way to the Rose Bowl and won their game over Michigan. Houston still at number 6. Louisville dropped 4 spots to 7. Texas A&M is at 8. Tennessee bumped up 2 spots to 9. And rounding out the top 10 is the University of Miami, the U, bumping up 4 spots from 14. Some of the games from over the weekend, pretty good stuff. As I mentioned, Clemson and Louisville, 2 of the premier programs in the country. We knew Clemson would be there just because of what they have last year. Deshaun Watson coming in as a Heisman Trophy candidate, one of the favorites, against the hottest college football player on the planet, in Lamar Jackson. And Clemson was able to do a good job containing him for most of the game. For early parts of the game, no problems there. But it was a close one at the end with Louisville rallying. 42-36 the final, though. Clemson winning at home. Deshaun Watson throwing for 5 TDs on the day. Deion Kane catching 2 of those TDs. That being said, it's pretty interesting. Clemson has been reeling so far throughout the season. Hasn't had a signature win, but they now do over the hottest team in the country in Louisville. So does that mean, Tom, that Clemson's going to go all the way, or at least get to the playoff?
To get to the playoffs, yes. To go all the way, absolutely not.
Okay. Easy enough. So some of the other games that were intriguing, and I don't know, Tom, if you'd watched them or not, but Washington made a huge statement win over Stanford up in Seattle, 44-6, over the number 7 team in the country in Stanford. Stanford usually wins these games the way Washington just won it. They ground and pound the ball, they play excellent defense, and they dominate both lines of the scrimmage, offensively and defensively. And that's how Stanford does it. But it was Washington on Friday, and they played absolutely amazing. Jake Browning, the quarterback, 15 of 21, 210 yards and 3 TDs. Tom, is this Washington team remind you a little bit of the Ohio State team that won it a year too early, won it all? Do they have that same potential here?
They do. Going back to the Stanford part, they only had 29 total yards altogether. Christian McCaffrey, the Heisman hopeful, only had 49 yards on 12 attempts, while the passing game was only 184 yards. Looking at Washington, total rushing yards, they had 214, and passing 210. So they are absolutely sound on the offense. They kept Christian McCaffrey, as I said, a Heisman hopeful, just decimated. He could not do much. His longest rush was only 14 yards. But yeah, I would say that they do look like the Ohio State team that did win it all a couple of years ago. And I could see them cracking the top 4 if things go their way.
No question about it. Michigan winning 14-7. It was against number 8 Wisconsin. It was a defensive battle. You saw the one-handed interception to close out the game. Very impressive by Michigan. This team is now revitalized, in my opinion, as a big-time program and competing with Ohio State. And now, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe that they do play each other at the end of the season. Let me just double-check on that, though. Yeah, they do. On the 26th of November. And that should be pretty interesting. It's at Ohio State. Assuming these two teams collide undefeated, who do you think wins that game between Michigan and Ohio State?
Yeah, it is going to be a tough one. Well, with Urban Meyer still behind Ohio State, anything is possible. He's like the Bill Belichick of the college world. But when it comes to Michigan and their defense, they're Heisman hopeful. I'm trying to remember. I know, Sam, you got it locked and loaded.
Which one for Michigan?
The defensive Heisman hopeful.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my God. That's terrible. I'm going to look it up, but keep going.
All I can think of is Charles Woodson, because this is the same player who can pretty much do absolutely everything for the team. Is just spectacular, makes plays, helps out the team, and just makes them all around better. But overall, Michigan's defense might not be the best against Ohio State, and I could see Ohio State beating Michigan maybe by a field goal, but it will be definitely a very close game. And it's
Jabril Peppers. I knew it was Peppers, but I couldn't remember the first name.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, that guy's a stud, and he's going to be a top 5 pick, no question. He's probably going to be the first player in the Big Ten to win Defensive Player and Special Teams Player of the Year because of what he does for turning the ball and his defensive abilities. No question. Tennessee coming up on top, 34-31 over Georgia. Last-minute Hail Mary. I don't know if you saw the play, Tom, but that was really impressive from Dobbs, getting it all the way to the end zone. Tennessee's 5-0 thus far. For me, they remind me of the Auburn team that had those miracle catches at the end of games to get to the national championship game and play against Florida State. However, they did lose, but Tennessee's not as bad as people thought earlier on in the season. What about you?
I did see the play. It was spectacular, and it reminded me of the Packers' Hail Mary, both of them last year. But I thought they may have been overplayed a little bit, saying that they were like, this is the best team that they've had in a very long time. But now, 5 games in, they actually are walking the walk and talking the talk. Next week, or this coming Saturday at 3:30, they will be playing against Texas A&M, who is also 5-0. And I gotta say, this might be a game to definitely watch.
Yeah, North Carolina, 54-yard field goal to win the game against number 12 Florida State, 37-35. Florida State now losing two games on the season. They're done. There's no chance for them to get to the playoff. What does that say for Florida State, to be honest? I mean, does it say, look, we were overranked, or does that mean what? Do they just play good competition?
It could go either way. I think this year they were overranked, just from the personnel that came into the football team itself. They are playing tougher teams, but I think the Jameis Winston era, that big QB atmosphere, is a little bit gone right now.
There are 4 teams left undefeated in the Big Ten, Tom. It's Michigan, Ohio State, by Maryland Terrapins, what up, 4-0, and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. They're 5-0 to start off the season. Now, they do have a big test in a couple weeks. They have a pretty good road gauntlet. They go to Indiana to play a tricky Indiana team. They play Purdue at home. Then they go to Wisconsin, and they go to Ohio State. Out of those 4 games, what do you think their record is going out of that?
You said there were 4 teams? Ohio State, Michigan, Maryland, and who?
Nebraska. Those are the only undefeated teams, but their schedule's like this for the next 4 games. It's at Indiana, at home against Purdue, at Wisconsin, and at Ohio State.
Ohio State only seems like the greatest barrier between them. So all wins except that one, I see.
Okay, fair enough. And then going down the scoreboard here, if I can pull it down a little bit further here. Texas and Oklahoma. Oklahoma won this week over TCU 52-46. Texas, a lot of questions on not only just on their defense, but special teams getting 3 extra point attempts blocked. Oklahoma State coming into it, winning the game 49-31. Who in the Red River rivalry is at the Cotton Bowl this weekend? 100,000 strong. Of those 2 teams, who needs this win more? Is it Ohio? Is it Oklahoma or is it Texas?
I think Oklahoma. Texas and Oklahoma, both very good schools for football, but Texas has just been lacking for the past couple of years, ever since they lost their number 1 head coach. Strong has done somewhat well since the coach has left, but his time is pretty much up. And if he loses to Oklahoma, I think his job is going to be in the toilet. So this could either go away, but I'm probably going to go Oklahoma.
I mean, look, Oklahoma is probably going to win this game. The reason why Charlie Strong probably still has his job right now is because he beat Oklahoma last season when they were 16-point underdogs in that game. It's going to be a close one. They're both 2-2, struggling in conference play, but it's going to be a shootout to the end. And I'm picking Oklahoma just because I think at the end of the day, who has the more experienced quarterback? I like Baker Mayfield over Buechele a little bit more. So we're going to do it with the pick'em, Tom, for the week. So we're going to go with this week's matchup, starting off with LSU and Florida. Picking LSU to pick off the upset at home on the road.
You got LSU. I actually got Florida.
Houston going to Navy. Annapolis is a tough place to play for opposing defenses. That triple offense is pretty impressive there. However, still picking Houston on the road.
And I agree. Houston has been a dominating force.
Indiana going to Ohio State. Indiana coming off an upset over Michigan State, so they knew how to take out big teams. Can they do it again, Tom?
No, definitely not. Ohio State.
Another top 10 matchup this week. You have Tennessee going down to College Station to take out the Aggies of Texas A&M. Trevor Knight's been pretty impressive thus far, but Tennessee also has its string of good victories. Who do you got?
I got Tennessee with being very lucky, so...
You know what? I think this lucky streak ends for me. I like Trevor Knight and the Aggies. Top 25 matchup here. Virginia Tech back in the top 25 for the first time in a couple years. Typically a top 25 program year in and year out, but they're finally back in it. They go down to Chapel Hill to take on the North Carolina Tar Heels, who've been pretty impressive knocking out Florida State over the weekend. Who do you got?
I got North Carolina. I think taking out Florida State has definitely given them a boost, even though Florida State has not been playing that well. But I definitely see them being Virginia Tech. All
right, so I get Tar Heels as well. Colorado, the Buffs, first time ranked in the top 25 since 2005. So it's been a while since they've been ranked, but they're 4-1. They go to the Coliseum to take on the USC Trojans. Who do you got?
I got home field advantage, USC.
I'm taking Colorado in this one. Alabama, Arkansas. Arkansas is number 16 team in the country. It is in Fayetteville, Tom. It's not in Tuscaloosa. I think this is going to be a trap game for me. I like Arkansas on the road. At home, actually.
I am going to still go with Alabama. I think Saban definitely has a plan for a trap game, so I still see them beating Arkansas by at least 10 points.
As I mentioned, Tom, Washington's in the top 5 for the first time since 2002-2003. Very impressive start for them thus far. Oregon 2-3, reeling 0-2 in the Pac-12 so far. But it is in Eugene. It's at the Autzen Stadium. I got the Ducks upsetting huge.
That's only because you like the Ducks. I'm going to go with Washington, the true victory, people. So,
fair enough. One of the biggest rivalries in college football, Florida State and Miami. It has lost a little bit of its luster because of Florida State's 2 losses early in the season. Miami's in the top 10. It's in Miami. Who do you got?
I'm going to go with the U.
Going with the U as well. Arizona, 2-3 to start off the season. Not great, but going to Salt Lake City to see if they can get their first Pac-12 win of the season. Tom, does Arizona do it?
No, they do not. Go Utah.
And then finally, Washington State, Stanford. Stanford coming off of that humiliating loss. But they take on a Washington State team led by that offense that's similar to Texas Tech. They just throw. Who do you got?
I got McCaffrey, who's going to run right over them.
There we go. All right, that's the end of college football. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk about our final topics. So for me, I do have that announcement. So I'm finally done with travel as of next month, this month actually. So I'm going to give you my top 3 underrated spots to go travel around the country. Tom, what do you got?
I'm going to go with my 3 top vacation spots.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. So vacation spots and travel destinations. That is our topic for the day. So here is some music, more music on the Spicy Sports Show with Sam Cerrone and Tom Crane on Spreaker Radio.